All right.
God.
Well, this is a pretty great day. I think we get to chat with Alberta's Brett Kissel. And so, good morning, my friend. Thank you for taking time to chat with me.
No, the pleasure's all mine. And I think it's going to be great that we get to connect and we get to talk about the big concert coming up. This is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I think Strathmore is pretty stoked that you're coming. Like, our little ag grounds getting kind of a big guy like Brett is a big deal for us. And I've seen your outdoor show. Let's correct. I've seen one of your outdoor shows. I was at the Rainy Edmonton Drive-In show.
Oh, yes. Wild. It was a great show, but yeah, a lot of memories made in that one. That's for sure.
I think the fact that you kept going, because I mean, you got up at the beginning and you're like, hey guys, there's lightning. And apparently I'm not allowed to perform in lightning. And then it came and we were all just like, oh. And then all of a sudden the screen lights up and you're there with cell phone lights on you and like the promotional guitar. And honestly, one of the most genuinely fun shows. And just, I felt like super connected to that show. It's one that's stuck in my memory bank.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And you know, I agree. The memories made in that particular concert is the truest, I guess the explanation for that event is that the show must go on. Like
Yeah.
that saying has never been more true than in that moment because everybody bought their tickets, everybody paid their money, everybody wants to be entertained. And Weather said no. Well, you got to figure out a way, and we did it. So I think for us, when we do the Cowboy Town concert, I mean, we know it's an outdoor venue, so we know that there's a lot of things that could happen, but rain or shine or snow, because it is Alberta
Yeah.
after all. I mean, I performed in it all, and sometimes the best memories are made when you have unique circumstances.
It was, yeah, for us even too, because we drove up from Calgary to Edmonton that day and then drove back because I worked at 4 in the morning the next day. So by the time we got
Yeah.
back, but yeah, it was just this. I mean, the outdoor shows, I think they just have such a different energy. Like you're not stuck in your seat, you're dancing all over the place. Do you feel that energy from the crowd playing outside and not different, like better or worse than inside, just differently? Because I mean, we've seen you dancing on top of 53-foot trailers. So
Well, you know what? I love the outdoor concert, and that's one of the great things about Canadian summers. To quote my buddy Dean,
yeah.
here's the reality: is that when the sun is setting and you get up onto the stage, you know, there's sometimes no venue rules. So even if your contract says you're supposed to play for an hour, you can play longer because if everybody's staying, I mean, you can't kick them out because they're already out. You know what I mean? So I'm very excited for the Cowboy Town concert in particular because when you do something that's partnered with an ag society, when you do something that is tied to the rodeo, I mean, the feeling that you get for me as a country entertainer is that everybody is there for a great time and we can deliver that playing a country show for country people. There's nothing better than that. And we've got a great set list lined up for, you know, our summer shows that I think that this show in particular might be the highlight of all 2023 for me, to be perfectly honest.
Well, and I mean, one, we're super excited to hear that. And two, it's your only Southern Alberta show, right? So if people want to see you, they're going to come to our little town and we're like, yeah, we're putting on a pretty good show, I think. And we've got Brandon Lorenzo out of Airdrie opening for you. And I want to ask you about Brandon because he's a special guy.
Yes.
And he took a leap one day, grabbed his guitar. He's like, Brett Kissel's at a liquor store in my hometown of Airdrie. I'm going down there. I'm going to sing him a song. When you see that courage in that guy, what does that tell you about who he is?
Well, it says a lot, and I really appreciate the courage because you never know until you ask. You never know until you try. And I live my life thinking about what would the worst case scenario be. So if I was in a situation like that, and the worst case scenario is you play a song and nothing comes of it, okay, well, that worst case scenario ain't so bad. But the best case scenario is that the artist, in this case, me, gets really impressed. And I was so impressed by Brandon. And I think he's got a great voice. And I love that. Okay, so now I hear him sing. Now you form a bit of a friendship that is now a genuine friendship. And I brought him up on stage, you know, last year in Calgary. So now that he gets to do the full opening slot, I mean, this is what dreams are made of. Like, could you not agree that had he not had the courage to come out to the liquor store where I'm signing autographs for my vodka, Deuce Vodka, like this would have never happened. And I'm really, really grateful that he did it. And this friendship has, has been formed now.
Yeah, and he's such a genuinely good human too, right? I think that's
Yes, he
maybe
is.
where that connection forms because I feel like you're kind of the same, cut from the same cloth as he is, and I think that showed more than when you did that PEI show. When we saw
Yeah,
these videos pop up, like
yeah, the thing about it is that he now gets an opportunity to play a real set. His
yeah,
band is great. I know that a lot of my band members performed in the studio on his singles, like You Set the Bar and a few other songs that he's released. So I think it's going to be really great to see what he does with his 30 minutes or what he does with his 45 minutes, however long he's got. And then maybe we'll bring him back up on stage again. Because like I said, when you play a big country concert like this, for the Cowboy Town show, I mean, there's no rules. So let's crank it up and let's have a hell of a party.
I think it's going to be a good show. I think we're going to have a good time. And I want to talk a little bit about the PEI experience because you, in like 24 hours, get asked to do this show. And I think it was the Glorious Sons you were covering for because they weren't able to make it. And how does that make you feel when somebody goes, hey, this is the guy we trust to pull this off in under 24 hours? Obviously, you had help, but still.
Yeah. Well, it was, there were probably 100 things that had to work out in order for the concert to work out. So our flights had to get in. I was in Florida. I was in Fort Myers, Florida. So that was wild, just on the other side of Tampa Bay. So I have to get from there to Prince Edward Island. Okay, that's not easy. So we had to rent a jet. Okay, so who do I know who has a jet? Well, I've got a buddy in Calgary, Brett Wilson. He's got a jet. Brett, can your jet fly from Calgary to Florida to Prince Edward Island and get us back to Calgary? Yeah, no problem. When do you need it? Now. I need it now. Like said, so that needed to work out. Then they needed to essentially on Facebook and through the radio and everything, they needed to let all of the rock and roll fans know that, hey, we know you love Glorious Sons. They're not able to make it. We can either refund your ticket or Brett Kissel can come and do the show. And everybody said, screw it. We'll see what Brett Kissel can do. Then I needed to call my band and say, okay, guys, this is happening. This is not a drill. People, this is not a drill. Can you make it to Prince Edward Island? And my band says, yeah, no problem. When? I'm like, now. You need to leave now. I booked you a flight. It leaves in 45 minutes. Like all of these pieces needed to come together. And the fact that it did just made it a miraculous show. So the fact that we pulled it off and the fans stuck around for it, you can't write this stuff. It was an epic. And I truly say it was an epic concert. I'll never forget it as long as I live.
It's to say, I mean, you've been doing this for 20 plus years. That's a pretty high bar.
It was. I will never forget it, no matter what. It goes down as one of the top 5 or top 10 most miraculous shows. Similar to what we just talked about, for the drive-in, where there's a will, there's a way, and you figure out how to make magic happen. So when you think about the Cowboy Town concert that we're going to do on June 24th, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of magic there because we've been on sale and we'll be on sale for almost an entire year. So I think there's going to be thousands of people in the dirt ready to throw down, and nobody can party like small town people can. And I know Strathmore is getting to be, a really big center now, but it's still small town at its core. And I'm a small town guy, which is why I think I'm so excited for that show in particular.
Yeah, definitely at our heart, we are that small town, typical rural, like just
yes,
everybody knows everybody and you're there for your neighbor kind of community. And I love that. So yeah, we are super stoked. And one thing I want to ask you about, because you're on social media a lot, and I think through the last 2 years of when you couldn't perform, and we're not going to talk about that, we're going to talk about this stuff now, but you were there so much, entertaining us constantly, doing kind of shows, performing. And I think, is that just you? Like, do you just wing these things? Do you plan them? Because one of my favorites was you in the truck when you were cursing at your phone because the technology wouldn't work. And I'm just like, that's our guy. That is so relatable to the point, like I said to you earlier before we started this, I practiced this Zoom call ahead of time because technology and I are not friends. So do you plan that, or is that just who you are?
Oh, that's who I am. I mean,
nice.
I think a reality show, if there was a reality show about me, my wife, and our family and the adventures that I have, I think it would be quite the adventure. Like it would be something to see. But at the same time, I mean, reality show, I think it wrecks more families and relationships than it does good. But yeah, I mean, whether the camera's rolling or not, you get me. and that's just the way just the way that it is in all its glory or all its, I don't know, debauchery. So, and as you get to know me better, Natalie, and when I see you in Strathmore, I mean, it's very likely I'll have a drink in my hand, I'll be playing cards backstage with the boys, and then you hit the stage, and I just don't take anything too seriously. That there's no reason to. And during the lockdowns when everybody had to stay home and everything, well, everyone's on their phone, so I may as well provide a little bit of entertainment and play some songs and play some stories and have some fun.
So with that in mind and not taking yourself too seriously, who comes up with a few good stories video for the dog party?
My manager and my wife, both of them. We were all talking and brainstorming. And it was, Charlie, he's our wiener dog. I think he's the best wiener dog in the world. And the concept was very simple. Okay, a few good stories to tell. What would be a funny story? Well, if I leave the house and Charlie throws a dog party and just has all of his buddies come over, Walk Off the Earth featured in that song, which was really cool. What I didn't realize is that, I think everybody loves dogs. I think so. Well, Sarah from Walk Off the Earth, she's really afraid of dogs. She does not like being around dogs at all. Wow. So she didn't know that was going to be the concept for the video. So when all these dogs ran past her and she has this reaction where she goes up against the wall like, oh my God, it was because she was genuinely scared. And I said, what do you mean you're scared? She's like, well, I'm scared of dogs. I said, what? So I felt really bad for her, which again is just another story, another good story to tell.
It was, I think the video was on repeat here in the studio because a girl that worked with us at the time had a wiener dog. And she's like, oh, you guys have to watch this. And then it just went over and over because we laughed. And every time you watch it, just watch a different dog. And it makes me laugh every single time.
And you know what? We have a lot of viewers that are kids, parents will put on YouTube and try to find good content. And we feel that for the most part, my videos just are really fun. They're very positive, lighthearted. And so a few good stories to tell, has so many views. And I know that they're from little kids. I know that it's my nieces and my nephews and all of their little friends watching this, because what's more fun than watching a dog party? So that was a cool extra that we were able to, bring to light.
Oh, I loved it. And I think it also just, kind of cements that connection that you have with your fans. I'm going to tell you a quick story because everyone is like super stoked you're coming, obviously, to Strathmore. And I was at a Flames game a couple of weeks ago, and there was two ladies beside us, and we got to chatting because, of course, we did. And turns out they're from Langdon, which is 15 minutes up the road. And I said, have you guys, I went into egg board mode. I was like, have you heard Brett Kissel's coming to town? And she's like, excuse me. And she rolls up her sleeve and it says, tough times don't last, tough people do. And that's the tattoo on her forearm.
Wow.
And then she goes, she signed my arm too. I wanted to get that tattoo. By the time I got to the tattoo shop, it faded.
Well, that is an amazing story. And I'm honored to hear that. That song in particular, I know has meant a lot to a lot of people for so many different reasons. But my hope is that, the two friends that you made at the Flames game are going to be able to, to come to the show. And I'll sing Tough Times Don't Last, Tough People Do. And hopefully they can hold up their arm and show me that tattoo. I would love to see it in person.
They are coming. They bought 6 tickets sitting in the stands of the Flames game.
Right on. See, that is a great sales job, Natalie. Good work.
Everywhere I go, I'm like, have you heard about our Brett Kissel show? No. Here's the link. Here's the tickets. You should join us. And then they do. So and they're just the sweetest people, and they're big concert goers. So I think I made a couple new friends, which is always a good thing too.
That's great.
With that being said, as a Flames fan, we can appreciate that you are an Oilers fan. We will not hold that against you. Because you got to make your choices in life. But
yes,
you sing the national anthem for the Oilers quite a lot.
Yes. So
if you could sing it anywhere other than an Oilers game, where would that be? And also blink twice if you're a secret Flames
fan. So I'm not going to blink. I'm going to keep my eyes very steady on the Zoom call. Here's the thing: is that I would love nothing more than to get an opportunity to do the anthem for the All-Star game. My friend Sasha, she got that opportunity down in Florida. I was so happy for her. She sounded so great. But any of the big ones, you look at the Super Bowl, you look at, I've done it for the Grey Cup a couple of times now, at the MLB All-Star game or the World Series. But nothing would be better than doing it maybe for the Olympics. If you have Crosby and McDavid on a line for Team Canada, I did get a chance to do it for the World Cup, which was really cool for Team Canada. But I mean, if the Oilers get a chance to go all the way, and I get to do this during the Stanley Cup Finals, I mean, there is nothing better than that. There's just nothing better than that. So for me, I do hope that I get to do many, many more anthems. George Canyon and I, boy, did we ever rib each other during the playoffs last year. That was a very fun rivalry between George and I. So, yeah, you never know what's going to happen in playoff hockey, but I do hope that the Oilers do go all the way, and I get a chance to hold the microphone up high and sing the anthems.
Yeah, it was. We have a friend of mine about 5 minutes out of town here who is hardcore Oilers, and when they clinched the other night, she sent me a screenshot with a little X going, "I'm not sure if Flames fans know what this little X means. Did you want me to help you with that?" And I was just like, "Oh, here we go,"
Well,
because we're in a must-win situation.
You really are, and between us, I mean, I don't actually not between us. I hope everybody knows. I actually hope that the Flames make it. I hope that they do that. I hope they do that for Daryl Sutter. I hope they do that. They've got a great team with a bunch of great players, so I hope that they can actually squeak in. I really do. All that being said, when you're talking about the Cowboy Town concert at the end of June, and when you're talking about the friends that you made at the Flames game that have my lyrics tattooed on their arm, I mean, at least they won't be conflicted come the end of June about whether or not they're going to come to my concert or if they're going to be watching the Flames, in the Stanley Cup final, because I know the Flames just won't make it past the first round, even if they do get in the playoffs. So I'm like, hey, I'm really happy that you're selling these tickets to Flames fans, because even deep down inside, they know that in late June, when I hit the stage, they're not going to be conflicted between playoff plans or country music plans the way that I probably am, because if the Oilers make it to the Cup final, it could be played on Saturday, June the 24th. It really could be. So you're very lucky that you have a contract signed with me. I will not pull an Eric Church on you. I promise you.
We'll just have a big screen somewhere if that's the case for you. We'll update you with the scores. Yeah, I think our we have hope. And you know what? Maybe that is you putting good things out into the universe. The Flames are going to be like, we heard that, Brett. We're going to prove you wrong. You never know. Anything is possible. Yeah. I mean, the best part is, I think, for me, I'm a hockey fan, right? So I am a Flames fan through and through. But if it's a Canadian team in the West, then I can cheer for them. We have a Leafs fan and a Canadiens fan in our office, so we're kind of a mixed bag here, which is awesome.
You know what? It's still pretty cool, because there are, obviously you have the Leafs and the Oilers that are doing so well, and I just hope that the Cup can come back to Canada. I would be thrilled for Toronto. Honestly, I would, if they can end this crazy drought to 50 plus years. 55, 56, 57 years, whatever it is. So I'm just excited for playoff hockey. I think it's going to be some of the best playoff hockey we've ever seen. So with that being said, I mean, with all of these dates that are coming down the pipe, or I don't know if it's pike, I don't know what the word is. I don't have a good vocabulary. But with all these concert dates that are coming, it's really cool to be, watching playoff hockey backstage, then hitting up my own stage and playing these shows. And my band, we're very excited to hit the road and now be balancing our two loves, playoff hockey and country music.
I love it. And I think, so speaking of, you have obviously an insane love for country music, which is fantastic. And it started very young for you. So let's be honest, at 12 years old, most of us cutting grass, shoveling sidewalks, delivering newspapers. Brett Kissel releasing an independent country album. So when you're trying to do that at 12 years old, who is in your corner trying to help you figure this out? Because I can't imagine it was an easy walk.
Well, actually, I got to be honest with you. The reason why I actually think it was easy is because I had so much support. I didn't know what I was doing. You're 12 years old. I had a great producer who just was inducted in the Country Music Alberta Hall of Fame, Calvin Vollerath, who was a great fiddle player. And he saw locally that I was getting a lot of attention. And he said, you should make a recording so that you've got something to sell off stage. So I did. And, my parents and my grandparents helped fund it, which was really special. And in doing so, we don't know how many we're going to sell, but you have to do a minimum limited pressing of 500 copies. And my mom and my dad and my brother and I and my dad and our whole family were like, there is no way that we're going to sell 500 cassettes. But we did. And we did it in the first 2 weekends. So then you actually have enough money business-wise to fund the next project, or more reorders and more. So it turned into a viable little business for me that I was able to always save. So if you're selling, 500 cassettes at $10 a piece, that's $5,000 of revenue. So now you got $5,000 in the bank. what do you do with it? Well, you make another project, or you hire more band members, or you buy another guitar, or maybe you buy sound equipment. So it always led to something else to continue to build my career. And I'm very grateful that the entrepreneurial spirit is what was, running through my veins and, was in the blood of my family, and a long lineage of entrepreneurs. So when you're saying, I don't know, it must not have been easy, believe me, there was a lot of hard work that went into it. But I think I was so naive that I didn't know the difference. So I was just playing the next show and trying to put some money in the bank and fund the next big project. So it was actually a lot more fun than it was hard work.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, like I say, at 12 years old, I think I was thinking of like theater school and things like that, but I definitely wasn't on stage just yet. So that's amazing
Yeah.
you're doing that at 12. So now you've got your latest project. I think it's your 10th studio album is the Compass project. Is that right? I want to say 10th.
You know what? I don't know. I'll have to. Okay, let's count together. Keeping It Country when I was 12, By Request when I was 13, Tried and True when I was 15, My Roots Run Deep when I was 18. Then after My Roots Run Deep, I did a Christmas record. So that's 5. The 6th album was started with a song. The 7th was Pick Me Up. The 8th was We Were That Song. The 9th was Now or Never. The 10th was What Is Life. Now the Compass project would be 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Okay, so this is a huge undertaking for this project with the latest album releases because the South came out in January and the East is coming out the end of this month, and then the other two in kind of summer, fall. So when you're approaching a project like this, what made you feel like you needed to pull the curtain back a little bit, kind of let us into your life because there's so many different avenues you're taking on these albums, and especially stepping forward with your writing?
I think it was giving my fans, the industry, and listeners a choice to go on this journey with me. And if they chose to do it, I'm willing to pull back, the curtain and peel, a few of these layers so you can get down to the core of who I really am, which most artists will do to a degree in one album. When they release their, one album every couple of years, of course, there's pieces of their hearts and pieces of their journey in those songs. But instead of just delivering one singer-songwriter-y kind of song, only one of them, I decided to make an entire record. Instead of doing something that is, more West inspired, just 1 or 2 songs, I decided to do an entire record. Instead of delivering maybe one live song, I decided to do an entire greatest hits album that are all live versions of these songs. So because of that, I'm really, really proud that I'm delivering more music than I ever thought I ever would, but my fans will get a really great taste if you choose to go on this journey with me. If you just want to listen to Never Have I Ever, the new single, and then move on, cool, that's great, no problem. But if you actually want to take this deep dive, well, I rolled out the red carpet for you, and here's the invitation so you can learn a lot about me, who I am, how I grew up, and the songs that have made me who I am today.
Yeah, I think Watch It's on repeat on my list. That's one of my favorites. I love that one. It's just,
yeah, mine too.
And then you see the video that goes with it, and you're like, "Yep, my heart just melted in a million pieces."
Well, I love my kids. I love my wife, and this song is really a song all about advice and all the advice I've ever gotten over the years as a parent. When we first announced our very first pregnancy, all of my friends, my family, just fans would come up in the autograph line and say, cling to your children as tightly as you can because, it's going to go by so quickly. And that chorus, they say, take life one day at a time, and I'm trying, but it's flying. That is so true.
It is like my friend's son just turned 22, and I was like, when did that happen? Like, how did that happen? He was at my knees a little while ago, right? My nephews are just like, they talk to me now with these deep voices, and I was like, when did you get those? It just goes by so quick. So
yeah, it's crazy and how capable, young people are today. And I feel that my daughter Mila and my daughter Aria at 5 and 7 are more capable at 5 and 7 than I was at 11 and 12. Like I'm really taken aback. by it, how smart our kids are and our boys, just how joyful they are. I am the luckiest dad in the whole wide world.
Oh, it's lovely. And I think that's the thing. Like, so when you get to do this and you're sharing these kind of pieces of you with us and forming that connection, you know, you have so many hits that we belt out at your concerts, and you hear us singing them back to you. Are we going to get some of the songs from the South and East album throughout that show in June?
Yeah, I really believe so. I mean, even though I've got a plan for what our summer set list is going to be, I definitely take a unique approach and understand that every single concert is different and every concert is unique. So, I mean, if it's a party, I may not strip it back and do
Yeah.
4 or 5 songs from the East record. But at the same time, if I can actually bring everybody in, then yeah, I probably will play a song or two. The West album, I want to release the night of the Cowboy Town concert. So,
Wow.
because I mean, they call it the Cowboy Town concert. I should release the West album on June 24th. That's my plan anyway. So I will play a few of those songs. But then, you know, the South album is just full of hits. Ain't the Same with 98 Degrees. Watch it. Never Have I Ever, we're hoping is going to be a big hit by then, as long as you continue to play it as much as you are, which is great. And then, you know, I did a cover of Cadillac Ranch, which is just such a great live song that I put on the South album. So, I'm just really, really proud of all of these songs. I can take this show in so many different directions. It's not even funny. So I'm really just gonna have to see which way the wind blows, really. And those are the decisions I'll really make, game time decisions, to be honest.
I think that's the best part of your shows. And for anyone that's never seen one, they need to. But the best part of your show is that it just feels so organic. Like, obviously, you have a plan. You have to have a plan. Preparation is key.
For sure.
The organic side of it, the emotional side of it, like, you laugh. There's times where you get as choked up as we do. Like, when I hear Tough Times Don't Last, like, I was standing at that show in Calgary in March, crying my eyes out. And then you followed up with another song that has me dancing and smiling and laughing with you. And there's this beautiful connection. So I cannot wait for Strathmore to experience that kind of Brett Kissel experience, which it really genuinely is.
Well, and I so appreciate you saying that. And the feeling is mutual in terms of the excitement that I have as the entertainer to step up on that stage and deliver everything that I possibly can for the crowd that's going to be in attendance. I mean, when you have a party in the dirt and you have everybody wearing their blue jeans and plaid shirts and cowboy boots and hats, that is just the making for a great time. And I mean, a great time. So you can't write a better story than what we're going to write, you know, on June 24th.
Well, on that note, I thank you so much for chatting with me. Genuinely, it has been one of the highlights of my radio career so far. We're stoked to have you here on June 24th.
Thank you.
My
gosh, that is very kind of you to say. But like I said at the very beginning, you need to set your sights higher. If this is a career highlight, you just wait until you have your conversations with Garth and Brad Paisley and George Strait and the real good ones. I'm just Brett Kissel from a farm in northeastern Alberta, and not a whole lot more.
I count you among them, my friend. I definitely do. And for everyone else, I mean, you're not going to want to miss it. Get your tickets. StrathmoreStampede.com is where you're going to pick those up. You're going to see Brandon Lorenzo, Brett Kissel, and of course, Strathmore's own Drew Gregory and the after party, which is going to be killer. And it's a show you guys don't want to miss. Thank you so much, Brett. I really appreciate it.
I can't wait. Thanks a lot, Natalie. We'll see you soon.